And I'm Scuba.
And this is the Hungry Scuba podcast. And today we are so lucky that we are being visited today, featured by Tim Dog. What's up, Tim Dog?
I'm hungry.
You call it a lock, I say it's all right.
All right, so we got a couple of videos today. Later on in the video, we're going to be talking about the UBI debate, whether or not UBI is a thing we want to be doing, and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. But until then, we're going to be doing some lighthearted stuff, some funny stuff, some stuff to get us in the mood. All right, so this first one is talking about babies. So, sometimes babies, they hit their head and like they start crying, and sometimes you think this baby is not even hurt. Like, why is he crying? Like, I think he's trying to get something off me. But it's some kind of effect where they don't really know what's going on. Like you're kind of training them when you overreact when they get hit, and so this is an example of babies well trained. Let's just say that.
And you mold your kids, right?
Yeah.
Constantly.
So these parents, they're knocking their knuckles on a wall or a hard surface, and then they're gonna pet the baby's head as if they're comforting the baby after just being hurt, and then the baby's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm hurt," and start crying.
That's sort of
哎呦，
messed
小丁
up.
头撞了呀！疼不疼啊？哎呦，疼不疼？
Look how happy the baby is.
又撞到了！哎呀，不哭不哭！
Look,
啊，乖乖乖乖乖乖乖，不哭不哭！
You're okay.
我哭我哭我哭我哭我哭我哭我哭！
dude, look at that baby's face. That baby really believes he's hurt now.
That's funny. It's like, wait. Am I hurt? Am I supposed to be hurt?
Dude, it's like the same thing with animals. Like you could say any words you want, but if you say it in a nice tone, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're being nice to me." But you'd be like, "Oh, you're a little shithead, aren't you? Aren't you a shithead? You're the worst in the world." And their tails wagging, they love you.
But this is one step beyond that, right? Because this baby's now thinking that he's hurt, and I like this like all these parents, they're doing the knock thing.
Yeah, it's like manipulating, training them. It's like an association. You train, like you ring a bell, and you do one thing a bunch. You ring that bell, and it almost like invokes you to do that one act. Like association.
I had this psychology professor, and he was telling me that it was something that had to do with the child looks to you so that you model how he should act, or how he should react.
Like reinforce his reaction.
Yeah, so
It's
when
like
I
that
was
thing
young,
when like the child falls and you walk up like you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, and you just walk up.
yeah. Or like when I was young, I was a super clumsy kid, and I'd smack my head against all the walls, the tables, everywhere. Oh yeah, okay, I still am. But when I was young, I used to do it, and my dad, I would smack the wall, and my dad would run up to the wall and be like, "Oh," he'd start rubbing the wall. Like, "Hey, are you okay? Is the wall okay? Okay, the wall's fine. All right, fine, everything's good." And I'd be like, my head hurts," but I wouldn't be sad. You know what I mean?
Your dad cared about the property more.
Yeah.
我哭我哭我哭我哭！哎呦我等等，哎呦我等等，哎呦我等等，哎呦。
He's slowly but surely. He's like, I have been hurt. Oh, dude, there's something about babies crying for no reason that's just funny.
That's funny. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Like when somebody says lice, everybody's head starts to itch, whether or not you have lice. Because
Really?
just them saying lice is like I forget, it's called like a group social, like something.
Huh? I
But
didn't know that.
yeah, it's like just someone saying something like can make you itchy or make you nervous or something like that.
That's funny you said that because I just scratched my arm as you said lice. I'm not sure if that was because you said lice or if it's just me,
Probably triggered something in you. It was like,
maybe it did trigger you. Maybe you just mind freaked me, dude.
Yeah, he mind fudged you right now.
All right, so this is another little kid video. You want to introduce this one, Scuba?
Yeah, man. I know most kids love candy, right? Sweets are something that we all enjoy. I don't mean for specifically. I still enjoy it today.
Yeah, me too.
But how often do you see a kid not want candy and pick vegetables? The story always goes, you eat your vegetables, you get dessert. But in this situation, this kid is like the complete opposite. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, okay, let's check it out. I have not seen this video. Nutella.
I want that.
This garbage out of here.
Right? Chocolate.
Yeah.
That's nasty. He goes to town on Like me personally, I have broccoli, but as a kid, I really don't think I would have chose broccoli over any of the other things.
Dude, this broccoli must be like dipped and greased in freaking butter. Like I don't understand. Like, look at it, dude. Okay, so I think it's cooked, right? It doesn't look like it's fresh cut.
Probably steamed.
Yeah, so it's probably steamed and like cooked with a lot of butter. And dude, a lot of butter with some spices, dude. Broccoli can taste bomb. But I'll give you this: I've never known a little kid. I mean, that's me speaking as an adult. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know many kids who like go to town on broccoli like this little kid.
I don't know many adults that would go to town on broccoli over candy.
I like broccoli, but that's me.
You see that video where they trick the kid into eating healthy stuff by like making like healthy stuff look like non-healthy stuff. So the chick's like eating a popsicle, but then she has like another one that's watermelon, and she gives it to the kid. Like, we're both eating popsicles. It's like, okay, we're both eating popsicles. It's cool.
Didn't we go over that video?
Yeah, we went over on here. Long story short, you want to get your way, trick people.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I learned from that video.
Stupid kids, they don't know.
That video, this video, like you're tricking a kid to feel pain.
I'm wondering what happened to this kid's life that made her want broccoli this bad. Like,
I'm sure it's like the same thing, and like they just reinforced it. They're like, "Oh, this is bad. Ew, it tastes gross," and she's like, "Yeah, this tastes gross." Like, I agree with you.
And in the long run, it's better for her because candy is pure crap.
Yeah,
straight up, it is garbage. I don't know. I love candy, but it's like candy, soda. It's all like I drink Monster all the time. It is pure garbage too, but I love it.
Dude, and candy is like straight up crack cocaine for kids, dude.
Oh yeah, and it's good. I can see why the addiction. Like sugar is highly addictive. So.
Oh yeah.
So this dude right here, I feel like it's like living the dream life of as many kids have, like the envision. I just want an immense amount of toys. But when you get older, you realize how many bills you have, and you're like, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
So you get to live that dream a little bit once you become a little bit successful. I feel a little jealous about it. I came across this video the other day.
I feel this exact way whenever I think about my old Pokemon cards, and I was like, damn, I had such a dope Pokemon card collection. I had like Mewtwo, I had Charizard, I had like the holographic, you know what I mean? I went out and got them, and
they're super valuable these days, man.
Nah, dude, my parents straight gave them away, dude. My parents straight like that's my problem. Hey, that's your problem when you're in a Mexican family and you have a giant family. Your parents just give your stuff away to younger cousins.
Yeah,
that's what we call it. That we all did the same thing. We have brothers and siblings. I wore my brother's clothes.
Yeah, no, but still, I was pissed. I was like, I could have like all like my N64, dude. My N64 with all my games. My mom just gave it to my cousins in Mexico, and she was like, "Yeah, they're gonna love it, and they're gonna love it for years to come." And I was like, "Yeah, they will," but damn it, dude, that's my childhood you just gave away.
My memories.
You don't deserve it.
Yeah, I know, right? So, she gave away freaking Pokemon cards too. Anyways, whatever. I love my mom. She does stuff sometimes. Let's go.
Arluge, and I'm a collector of fast food restaurant toys, and currently the Guinness World Record holder.
Whoa.
Do you think this guy has a wife?
What?
Do you think this guy has a wife? You think he's married?
Yeah, probably, dude. Dude, he has to have at least some kind of record of everything in this room. That's nuts. That's a lot of stuff to have record on.
It's like a mental. That's dope though.
They're like the lamest toys you could have too.
They're all fast food toys.
As far as I can remember, when I was still a kid, I've already been collecting toys. Not necessarily the fast food toys that I have right now. But I remember...
Dude, what? Dude, that is a blast from the past. Do you remember this? Do you remember this guy?
Yeah.
I used to watch this as a kid.
That's
This
the boss
was-
on dinosaurs.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, dude.
Or the little
Wow.
baby, the little orange baby that was sitting.
Not the mama. Yeah.
remember having all the toys, playing with them, of course. But then I really take good care of them.
I bet you they're valuable too. They gotta have some kind of
So
value.
this is Hetty Spaghetti.
Yeah. After a certain point.
I think I got
right?
this around 1988. As you can see,
That
it's
toy's
been a
older
long
than
time,
me.
But if you really take good care of the toy, it's gonna maintain its pristine condition. Now, what makes this so special is the fact that when I got this, I was together with my mother, whom I love so much and who is very supportive of my collection.
Yeah, I think it always starts with like some kind of emotional connection.
There's no way this guy's fucking married.
Yeah, as soon as I
There's no
started
way.
seeing the other rooms of this, I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what, dude?
Hey, you don't know, man. There's like always another person for someone. Some chick out there probably finds it super interesting.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. There's people who chase after fast food competitive eaters. So, you know, whatever, dude. Whatever floats your boat. I'm all for it.
There are a lot of people out there, man.
So the toy is like a storyteller in itself. Like, for example, it gives me a glimpse of that particular period when I got it, my story, what's going on, what are the incidents that are attached in the acquisition.
The incidents are attached in the acquisition of the particular. It's you going to a fast food restaurant and getting a hamburger, dude. Like, what?
Well, look at it this way. It could be like, you know, when you take a picture, it just helps you remember that moment in time. It creates an association of a moment that felt good. So maybe that's this thing. He's like, he looks at it, it's like, I had a good time. And it just refreshes your mind of all these emotions. Of what happened.
You know, it'd be funny. You know, it'd be funny if he could point to every single one of these toys and be like, "That was a Happy Meal. That was that was a double jack. That was a jumbo jack. That was a bacon cheeseburger." Like
That day, I kept it on my shirt, didn't even eat ketchup.
that was a good day. That was a good day.
Dude, like, it's cool to have all these, but bro, buy some shelves, you know? Like, why does everything gotta be on the ground on top of something?
True, dude. That's a big point. That's another reason why I know he's not married.
You can't afford shelves.
Of that particular.
I can't afford shelves, I gotta buy all these toys.
I can't.
In the future, I wanted to have a museum of some sort for this fast food toy collection. And I remember many times when my friends come over and see some of the toys here, they would exclaim, "Oh, I used to have that toy and I used to play around with it." So I guess if eventually this museum will open, this will also give them a chance to revisit their own
What?
childhood memories.
He's planning on making a museum out of this.
Dude, I guarantee you, a lot of that stuff in there is probably worth a lot of money. People will, like, there's collectibles, man. People will pay. We don't find it too interesting, but there's a lot of people out there like, hell yeah.
That's
Like,
insane, dude.
Yeah. As long as he's happy, man. Seems like he had a whole smile on his face the whole time.
Yeah, sure. He was enjoying himself. All right, so we're gonna go from happy, light, funny to something a little more extreme. I hope this is okay to play on YouTube, but I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will.
Yeah,
If
better
not,
be, like, it's on YouTube. That we got this video from YouTube.
dude, I know. Dude, you would think that would mean you're safe, right?
No, YouTube don't. YouTube confuses itself.
Yeah, it does. It does. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Okay, so you think we should have a backstory, or should we just go into it?
All I gotta say is this dude handled himself super well. Best thing to do is just jump into it.
All right. Let's see. Oh, what the heck? Oh, wow, dude.
Like, you can feel the intenseness right now. Like, you don't know what's happening.
Dude, that sound, I was like, is someone knocking on the window? No, that's not a knocking.
Look at this, dude. It's so intense. They're trying to like mess him up.
Oh my gosh, dude. Look at that, dude. These guys are ready to fight for their lives.
Heck yeah. You guys are trying to kill him. They were shooting at him already.
Dude, it's in this moment where you know that everything you do matters.
Yeah. Get somewhere safe. You already been shot at, so you know these guys don't care about killing you.
They're coming after us, he said. Dude, and the driving of this guy is immaculate, bro.
Oh yeah, man. You still gotta maintain your composure. People are just ramming your car. You're still shooting at them.
Yeah.
This guy deserves a raise, man. Both of them.
Found Robbie. Found Josh. Ask him where they are.
Reinforcements, baby.
I'm surprised they didn't get their tires shot out, dude. You know what I mean? Because then that's it. You be almost donezo. Whoa.
Alright.
Dude. What's gonna happen next, dude?
Fucking shoot him. He's natural.
What is happening?
Right now. We're just trying to get free. They made it. I want to know what happens after. This is like great suspense right here. From the other view. Oh,
This is from there. This is from their front.
yeah. How they're driving.
Yeah. Dude, so these things have cameras up the wazoo.
Oh heck yeah! I'm pretty sure they're escorting. They have to be escorting something expensive or someone.
What the crap
See,
is
there's
that?
people waiting for them, too. I think there were people waiting for them.
Yeah, those are the people that were shooting at him. Like, run them over.
Yeah. They're kind of so crazy. Yeah, cunt.
Wow, dude.
Also, if you're the robbers, you gotta have a better plan than that. We're gonna shoot at an armored car from the street, and that's it. That's the best we got.
Dude, I hope you hit someone, man. Who are you people?
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, dude, this guy had the ability to still maintain and do your job while trying to be shot at.
My favorite part is the guy in the passenger seat with the gun, but it's too long for him to aim and shoot, so he's just holding on to it. Useless.
Dude, legitimately, when I was watching this, for whatever reason, I was thinking of. I had heard earlier this week that the reason why Fast and the Furious was so popular is because it's modern day pirating. It's the modern day pirate movie, and it's high seas fighting battles, but now it's on the road. And when I'm watching this right now, these guys trying to rob this armored car, they're pirates, dude. They're pretty much like land pirates, and the vehicles make the whole difference, dude. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that, like, this obviously still happens, and
Dude, you know there's still pirates out in the sea.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
this
yeah.
one stretch, I forget where, what canal or travel route. That
Like Somalia is real big with pirates.
yeah, shit tons of pirates. But nowadays they hire a bunch of what do you call it? Task force. I don't know what they're called. Whatever team to escort them on the boat with them because apparently they get robbed so much, and they're just like crazy fighting on boats and everything. It's intense.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's,
Joe Rogan had a guy on his podcast who was like in captivity by Somali pirates for 2 years before he got released,
that's
and it was
nuts.
from like 2012.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
that
my
in the last
gosh, dude.
decade, that fool was a prisoner to legit pirates of the open water.
And we always associate pirates being something early 40 or mid-century early, but no, pirating still happens today.
Well, what was that movie? Captain Phillips, right? That was a movie that came out recently with like
Yeah,
Tom Hanks and the other guy who's like, look into my eyes.
yeah.
I'm the captain now. And I was like, dang, you are the captain.
It was a pretty intense movie, dude. And the way that they freaking got him free, there's like the Navy SEALs are on a boat that's bobbing up and down, and then they're on a boat that's bobbing up and down, and this sniper shot a shot from his boat that's bobbing to their boat that's bobbing and killed the guy in one shot, dude. And it's like, gee, like snipers are out of control now. For someone to be able to do that is just bonkers.
Yeah, snipers are. I've always thought like snipers are so cool, and then I found out that sniping involves tons of math, and I'm like, dude, I have even more respect for you, dude, because
Yeah, man.
you're able
gotta-
to do all these calculations like on the fly sometimes.
Yeah, trajectory, how bullets fall. I mean, those guys they're experts and on another level.
All right, so that was intense. I'm glad that you showed this to us because I've never seen this before. That was
Yeah, what I find
nuts.
crazy is this happens probably more often than we realize.
Yeah.
On a daily, people are like, we fight just to live. People are just fighting just to see tomorrow. Like, we just wake up and go to sleep like, oh, my life is so horrible. In reality, nah, man. There's some really bad shit out there.
You know, one of my favorite Reddit channels is freaking off-duty Brazilian cop. Because in Brazil, if somebody robs you or like steals something, you're legally allowed to shoot and kill them.
Yeah.
So every cop that's off duty has their gun on them. So there's all these videos of like, oh, he's just chilling in his car and someone tried to jack his car. So it's like, bam, 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 shoot him dead. Or like, oh, he's just checking out at a grocery store and someone comes around the grocery store and he just like, bam, shoots you dead. And then, you know, it's cool. Like, you're a hero. You saved people by killing this man.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
guy's
damn. It's
I
so real out there. We're so sheltered.
Dude, it's intense. It's like literally like the Wild West. I saw one out there in Brazil where it was an off-duty cop. It was a female cop dropping her kids off at school.
Yeah, I saw that one.
You saw that one? And dude, she just dropped that dude so quick. I was like, I don't, like, in my head, I don't feel bad for the other guy that died.
Nobody
Like,
does.
you created this moment of action, whatever. You created this.
What's crazy for these like robbers is you got to realize there's a million cops out there. So like your focus is on the person you're trying to rob, but there's 30 people around you. So chances are one of them's an off-duty cop, and somebody else has a gun, and they're just not accounting for it. Like that one, they went to rob somebody that was standing right in front of the lady who was the cop.
Yeah.
And so she like took a step back, pulled her gun out, and then just shot him in the back. It's like, yeah, dude, like you absolutely deserve that, and like you should have been suspicious that like someone was going to try to stop you from this robbery in broad daylight.
In broad daylight, you the audacity, dude.
Yeah. But you know that's why he's dead now, and she's not.
Yeah.
All right, so
I love it.
This video. Now we're moving on to the final meat of the night, dude. This is what we wanted to talk about. I haven't seen it. but here's the point. I like Andrew Yang, and I like the idea behind UBI. I'm not a financial economic expert, so I don't really know like the strengths of it, and all the strengths that I do know. I'm just parroting from what Andrew Yang said. You know what I mean? So I'm not a super big fan of Ben Shapiro. I know he's a smart guy. I know he's conservative, and I know that he will press Andrew Yang and challenge him in his ideas. Yeah. And that's kind of what I want. I want someone to challenge this dude, and I want this dude to be challenged, and then like actually come step on his feet and give answers.
Yeah, because like challenging leads to progression. If everything is always norm and easy, then we all just like become sheep. You have to challenge the norm.
Yeah, and the challenges probably make his position better over time, right? Because then he'll be forced to leave off the weak points or the parts that get criticized.
Yeah. So I guess like currently right now, while we're going to discuss this, there is a big old push for basic income because of currently what happened this past year. Y'all know what happened. Just a lot of turmoil. A lot of people went bad, and we all needed something to help support us, which brought about this, where I think this has been something been around for a while, where a lot of people do want it, but it's been made more relevant these days, which is like a basic income to help sustain standard, like a basic living, a minimal living to survive.
And it's crazy. He was actually talking about this. This was his platform before the whole craziness happened. So when the craziness happened, then he was just like looking around like, yo, this is even more reason why UBI should work.
Yeah, it puts more into spotlight perspective.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that this whole craziness, and I like the way I like to refer to that. Let's keep doing that. It sounds good. But anyways, this whole craziness, I think happening to New York the way it did, and then him living in New York, being a presidential candidate, doing pretty well, and then also having the whole idea of UBI. I mean, this is what's pretty much pushing him to be the governor right now. He's running in New York to be governor, and he is winning right now. He's the leader.
Yang gang, baby.
Yang gang, dude.
Yeah, man. A lot of people have to follow it. Like I said, I'm like right now, for me, I am for it. I am for basic income just to help people sustain. That's just my stance. And then I'll see what the arguments are.
Also, Ben Shapiro's a super goober, dude. Like that guy, like Ideal America is just so like plain mayonnaise eating freaking whitewash.
Yeah, he's for sure not going to go easy on Yang. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't think he's really for UBI. So.
No, I already have a feeling against it.
So let's
not do it either, but that's my feeling.
Yeah, but I mean, and the fact that he's against it doesn't make me afraid of him. I'm just like, let's see, let's see what you have to say.
You make a good point. Maybe you can convince me right now.
Yeah.
The solutions that you propose are pretty big government solutions.
As soon as you started talking, I was like super goober.
Bro, I'm telling you, ever hear the Cardi B thing that he did?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was a funny, like that is just classic. Like this is white people who absolutely don't understand anything about culture, like let alone black culture. And he just like, really? Like, is this what the children should be listening to? It's like, obviously not. This is not children music. Like, your argument is flawed at its core and you're running with it. So of course, like, 4 stages down the line, it's going to make sense because you fucked up in stage 1. Like, who cares about stage 3? Like, stage 1 fucked up, the whole thing's fucked up. Like, come on, Ben Shapiro. But no, he's smart. I agree with him with some things, but there are just some times where he just like takes this false premise and builds this giant argument on it. And it's like, you see, I'm right. And it's like the premise was false though. Like the premise that you started with was false. So the last 20 minutes was just garbage.
Yeah. All right.
You're a guy who obviously worked in the private sector and you ran a charity that was specifically designed for helping people in the sector. Why do you think that stuff is insufficient? Why isn't it that it should just be about private charity, for example? That's been my proposal, is that there needs to be a lot more upswing in private charity, that we need to encourage people to leave some of these dying towns. You seem to suggest that these people should essentially be able to stay in these dying towns and that government should take care of them there.
Well, I think several paths forward, but we have to choose one, and we have to figure out together. It's like, what is the path forward for many, many Americans? And the reason why I'm confident that we need to go bigger is that I was one of the most celebrated social entrepreneurs of the last number of years, where I started this multi-million-dollar organization, Venture for America, movie made about us, honored by the White House. And I realized that our efforts, as much as I was proud of them, were like pouring water into a bathtub that has a giant hole ripped in the bottom. Just the scale is all wrong. Where if you look at the numbers, we're looking at 3 to 4 times the level of labor force displacement as the first industrial revolution, or the industrial revolution at the turn of the century. And
This is you're talking about, right, Scuba? I mean, Tim, you're talking about the labor displacement that he's saying right now?
The job apocalypse, bro. That shit is for real, man. Like, and if we don't do anything about it, this guy's trying to do something about it. But if we don't do anything about it, 50 years from now, everybody's gonna be screwed. And it's like the system, like, well, you better go to work. It's like, well, there's no jobs. Like, there's always a job. Like, no, there's literally no jobs. Like, nothing fast food's hiring. Amazon's not hiring. Like, all these giant corporations that hire hundreds of millions of people are hiring no people now. So, like, that's the problem.
Right?
What's the solution?
Has to do with the implementation of better technology across the board. A lot of these jobs are being taken over by machines. If I can pay machine the price of electricity and they work 24 hours, no complaints, I will never get sued by my machine, why would I not take that route?
Yeah, and it's not even just like a robot will replace a cashier. It's like, instead of it taking 30 people to run this company, it's going to take 5 people to do it.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of automation, but it's also going to be, these 5 people are going to be more efficient than those 30 people ever were. So it's not even just like, everyone has this idea in their mind that like a robot shaped as a human standing in behind the counter at McDonald's, but it's like, no, man, there's still people there, but there's way less because...
Way less, dude. Way less.
Yeah. It's not going to replace it, because you're still going to need, even then, like what in route, it still creates some form of jobs, right? Because you're just going to need more technically skilled people to be able to maintain these robots or whatever you want to call them. Because like right now they're testing in Amazon warehouses, like these robots that literally just go around the warehouses, grab the product and bring it back.
Yeah.
They would for 24 hours a day.
Instead of employing like 300 people, you employ 35 people to handle the robots.
Like you manage those 5 robots, but you gotta know how to like troubleshoot, right? Like an IT guy.
But still, dude. So I mean, this is all looking pretty bleak. You know what I mean? This is all looking pretty bleak.
Yeah. So the job market is shrinking, but it feels it's gonna grow. Like I do think that though there are going to be reduction in certain areas, there will be an increase in other areas of the job market. You just got to have more technical like knowledge for it.
Say, hey, charities are going to handle that. Like, charities don't have the scale to address needs this big. And I know this because I've worked in that space and I've hung out with the heads of foundations, and just the scale is wrong for the scope of the changes.
So let's talk about the crisis itself. So the book, in particularly the first half, is rather dystopian about kind of its description of the economy, particularly in certain parts. And you do make sort of a bifurcation between big cities, where you say the economy is growing, and some of the outlying rural areas where you say that it's not growing. What about the argument that the economy seems to be doing pretty well, that every time there's a technological change historically, there's been worker displacement, that there will be people left behind because that's just the nature of creative destruction, but that new jobs will be created in ways that we can't foresee right now? What makes you think that this time is sort of the cataclysm?
Well, we will 100% create many, many new jobs that we can't predict. And the issue is that they're going to be for different people in different places with different skills than the people that are going to lose their jobs, like, are going to be able to take advantage of. And so if you look at a couple of big historical references, number one, the Industrial Revolution, which people generally refer to and say, hey, we've been through this before. The Industrial Revolution at the turn of the century included mass riots that killed dozens of Americans and caused billions of dollars worth of damage. We now have Labor Day as a national holiday because of those riots. We implemented universal high school in 1911, in part as a response to these problems. And Bain and McKinsey project that this time is going to be 3 to 4 times faster and larger than that Industrial Revolution in terms of displacement of workers. So even if you just rely upon history, you would expect a lot of violence and tumult and conflict. Number two, I studied economics in college, and according to economic theory, if you were to automate away 4 million manufacturing jobs, which we did, those workers would move, get retrained, reskilled, find new, higher productivity jobs, and all would be well. But when I dug into the numbers, it turns out that almost half of those workers left the workforce and never worked again. And of that group, about half filed for disability. And then you saw a surge in substance abuse and drug overdoses and suicides, none of which were in my economics textbook. It didn't say, hey, like workers are going to go home, file for disability, and start dying at record levels. So if you look at that fact pattern, you say, okay, that's what happened when 4 million manufacturing workers lost their jobs. That's actually a much better sign of what's going to happen when the 3.5 million truckers and the 2.5 million call center workers and the over 10 million retail workers suffer from the same sort of displacement.
Now, the conservative counter-argument to some of what you're talking about would be, right, all these people went on disability, but they were able to, meaning that a lot of people were able to find a social safety net. They've been reliant on that social safety net. That hasn't actually rebuilt the forms of social capital necessary to have functioning societies. You've seen people who are supported by the government largely, who are still getting addicted to drugs, people who are committing suicide at record rates, who are staying unemployed for years at a time, and who are staying in towns where presumably they really shouldn't be staying. I mean, there are 7 million unfilled jobs apparently in the United States right now, and there are a lot of people who are out of work, and people, as you mentioned in the book, are basically staying where they are. Is the incentive structure maybe misaligned because of government intervention into the system?
Okay, I think that was actually a really good question, because he just said, hey, we have a bunch of social securities and social safety nets right now, and people are still getting drunk and or getting addicted and making bad decisions. So what Ben Shapiro is saying right here is that maybe that won't solve the problem if we give other people money. If it's not just people on welfare, we give everyone
the solution he's saying is like move your fucking whole world and find a job. And I think like it came out easy, like, oh, the structure is like it's easier for you to stay and like live on unemployment than it is to move and actually find a job. But I think it's like sometimes impossible for people to move. Like moving costs money. Like packing up your family and moving costs money, especially if you don't have someone like family to support you when you get there. There's some people that's like, oh, I'm gonna move to California. I'll stay with you for 2 months. I'll find a job. I'll get this place, and like they can do that. But some people don't have someone here in California. They're not gonna like leave their home that generations old people have been living at that home in Tennessee where there's no jobs to move to California where there is jobs. But like, how is he gonna make it? He's gonna stay at like a shelter? Is he gonna stay like in his car? You know, like
yeah,
I think
that's exactly what a lot of people do.
Shapiro oversimplified that. Like, why don't they just move and get the jobs that are available? And I'm sure some of those jobs that are available are fucking shit jobs. How many jobs would you not work? Like, straight up.
A lot, man. Like
a lot
of the jobs I used to do.
Half the jobs I've done in my life, I'll never do again.
Like,
that's
think about it.
Dude.
The places that have the highest turnover rate, say like fast food or warehouse jobs, those have high turnover rates because they are miserable jobs to work.
Yeah, exactly.
We all workers. Yeah.
Move from Tennessee to go to that shitty warehouse job. Like, really? Because it's the job that exists and there's no job that exists in Tennessee. Like,
yeah. Well, I guess from his stance, right? Do you look at it as like, do you want to live? If let's say we're put in a situation where my only means of survival is to go there. What I think what he's saying is, if there is an opportunity, you have the choice to take it. It doesn't mean like you don't have to, but you probably won't have a roof over your head anymore. So I guess he's just saying, adapt to it. Don't just have it be brought to you. Don't like sugarcoat everything and make the life around you.
It's crazy because it's like conflicting ideologies, dude. It's like this Ben Shapiro's is like, you'll figure it out. Like, you will figure it out, and if you don't make it, oh well, you're just a casualty of being lazy. Whereas Andrew Yang's is much more compassionate. Like, we need to help out people who are in bad positions. So I feel like human beings are both of those. Like, we want people to be individually motivated and not be like a drain on the system. But at the same time, like, we want to be compassionate and be like, oh, we all care for each other. We're a community. Like, we're in this together. It's like we're fighting against both of those. And these are like, I feel like the angel on the left and the devil on the right, like trying to hash out this argument about like how as human beings we want to like control the population, how we want to like motivate the population.
Yeah. It's like a fine line, isn't it? Because though you want to help you're like, I think sometimes we fight against our own nature to be selfish in that aspect. You're always trying to catch yourself. And like,
Yeah,
have
so I
that-
feel like the whole like just move and get a job is that selfish side of you coming
yeah,
out and being like,
Yeah.
because I like even this argument we've been having since before the podcast started. It's like I don't want to support like bottom feeders. I don't want them to have my money, and I don't want to live in a system where it benefits them to just live off of it. But at the same time, it's like you have to take some of them to help out the majority of people.
Take some of them into your bosom. All right, let's see how Andrew Yang responds to that. I think that was a good question. Let's see.
You know, it's a very interesting question. And one of the things that I found worrisome in the data was that Americans are migrating between states at multi-decade lows, which is a terrible sign for dynamism. And I love dynamism. I mean, I think people should be moving for work. It's very good economically and culturally. It's something very optimistic about moving to another state for a new job. And so I would love to help more Americans do just that. And one of my policy proposals is that we pay moving expenses for Americans who want to move. Because to your point, there are a lot of Americans who are stuck in place because they're underwater on a mortgage, there are costs associated with a move that they can't manage. But a lot of them are also in place because they have families. And so it's tough if you're going through a hard time and then you have like the only people that you're close to in your life are living in that same town. And then you're like, hey guys, I'm gonna leave to move to the big city. You know, you're asking people in some ways to sacrifice what little they can rely upon in their lives.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that that's sort of where I am, in the sense that I wonder if this is more about an American mentality shift that has to happen as opposed to government interventionism. So maybe we need to reinstall the sort of pioneer ethos that supposedly animated the United States in the first place. This idea, okay, you do have to pick up and you do have to move and you do have to make difficult decisions to better your economic life. And do you ever worry that the description of the upcoming economic catastrophe is actually disincentivizing people from going out and trying to forge forth? Because I do think that how people think has a major impact on how they decide to embrace the job market.
Well,
Wait, what was that question you just said?
I think it was what we were speaking about earlier in regards to motivation. If you implement this, will people still be motivated to want to work? Will people still be motivated to want to go pursue something when you're providing it already for them? I think that's what he was saying. I think that's the question was. Because he said it's going to change the mindset of how people approach situations. Like, I need to work to eat, right? But if I give you all the money and pay for everything for you to live, do you really need to go to work to eat anymore? So I think that's what he said. I think that's what he's trying to gear at, where it's going to change the mindset and demotivate people, which I think we were speaking about earlier, a little bit earlier.
I think after that point, I'd probably be motivated to get a girl, and so I would probably start buying. I'd have to get a job so I can get a nicer car and a nicer set of clothes. You know what I mean?
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Like I think that is the point. Like there's not a lot of people who just sit around all the time. And like we say it like the number is big, but if you do the percentage, it's like super small.
And let's be serious. Evolution will weed them out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the people who don't do anything and don't reproduce. I mean, there you go. They don't reproduce. They don't pass on their line. And it'll be
I
less
think,
people like
I
that
think
in
it's
the
like
future.
Scoob said, like back in the day, you had to eat to live. Like everyone had to work to eat. Like you have to work. If you want to eat, you have to work. But I think it's at a point now where it's like, not everybody has to work to eat. I think it's already like that, dude. When you think about it, like all these big families, usually the grandma staying home and watching all the kids. So she's not working. She's not getting like a check, but everyone's taking care of her because she's watching all the kids. There's already shit like that. Like you don't have to work to eat. You just have to be part of like a social structure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah. But they have that support of that social structure, right? Say if grandma had nobody, then she would have to work.
That's why the government's going to be your social structure, about to give you UBI.
Yeah, no, you're wrong. Right?
That's why family is so important, dude. We should be freaking promoting family. That's what we should.
Yeah, no, that's been on the down for a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm so lucky.
We've gotten from like super puritanical, like the more like. I think there is something to be said about like the destruction.
I mean, we all know someone who's not puritanical at all, and they have 6 kids, right? Like, let's not just say their name out loud, but so it still happens. I think.
Yeah, but it's not a matter of like how many kids you have, because some people have a bunch of kids and they're not a family, but then some people like your family and parts of my family, there's like 80 of us, and we're all fairly close and like
Yeah.
mostly aligned on the important issues because
Yeah.
we're all raised like the same way. You know.
Let's see what Andrew Yang says.
You know, like you say, you know, I mean, facts are very stubborn things. And so, you know, like I'm convinced that let's say, for example, 30% of American malls are going to close in the next 4 years. And working in retail is the most common job in America. I mean, those are objective facts. Like Amazon sucking up another $20 billion in commerce every year. And so saying, hey, this is happening, I don't think that necessarily is going to freeze people in place. Like the hope is that we can galvanize energy around folks trying to improve their situations and adopting real solutions. But I couldn't agree with you more that there is a mindset that we would love to have more Americans inhabit. And what I'm going to suggest is that there's something very optimistic and confident about that pioneer ethos that you described, which is like, hey, I'm gonna just like go and we're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna farm, you know, in some undiscovered frontier and like we're gonna create a better life for ourselves. And that is not happening for a lot of Americans. So the question is, how do we get them from where they are now to that point?
I want to,
Dude, boom. I think that was a fantastic answer to Ben Shapiro. Just like, well, that's down right now. It's been going down for a while. So the answer is, what do we do differently? That's a fantastic answer.
Yeah, they both agree on that point that you want people to have it.
Yeah, and like what Andrew Yang was speaking in regards to, you have to be able to change the mindset of people. I know we speak about this a lot within our own personal group, where how the society creates this narrative, and we believe this is a narrative that we live by in order to be successful or live a well life. But the narrative just leads you to being poor and being stuck in a dead end crappy job, because they don't teach you what you need to know in like your younger years into high school, into adulthood, right? For a lot of us, credit, we don't know what, a lot of us have crappy credit. When you open a credit card, look at all this free money I have, but it's not really free. It puts you in debt. And so like what he was saying right now, we got to teach each other, we got to teach the younger as they grow to develop this kind of way, this kind of thought, to try to always continually be progressive.
Let's see how dude, I'm not gonna lie, when Ben Shapiro talks, dude, sometimes I just kind of like lose focus and I pay attention to all the orange lights around him.
I just zone out. I don't care.
Have you seen his show?
No, not really.
Yeah, he does it. It's like, I think he's on the Daily Wire.
Yeah, he has like little quick clips. I've seen it. They have it on Snapchat. I watch a lot on there. There's like little quick clips of like.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. Like Ben Shapiro, very well spoken. I agree with, like Tim was saying earlier, I agree with a lot of his points.
But he's
a lot of it, I'm just like, bro, it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Yeah, dude. Like that Cardi B thing, he's like, we all agree that this is the worst thing in the world. So let me make an argument now about how this is ruining like life. And it's like, dude, it's not the worst thing in the world. Are you serious? It's just like, this has been happening for a while. She's not that unique.
Yeah, and even this right here, I feel if we do give like universal basic income to everybody, there's just gonna still be more problems, right? One problem, like you're gonna alleviate one problem, there's always so many more. So I can see where that's why you gotta, the nuances of it is gonna be very hard to work out. The idea,
they'll probably get it wrong at first and then have to fix shit.
Yeah. The UBI 0.3, you know what I mean? 3.0.
Yeah, and I guess we get to be the guinea pigs. We're going to be the guinea pigs of it.
Let's see, dude. Let's see.
Your perspective on jobs, because it seems like you have an interesting view of jobs. On the one hand, you say that people obviously need them. They need them for a sense of meaning. On the other hand, you seem to suggest that those jobs aren't forthcoming anytime soon. So do you think that it's the jobs that provide meaning or the check that provides meaning? At one point in your book, for example, you specifically criticize this exact bifurcation. You basically say that there are two completely oppositional ideas, page 182, two completely oppositional ideas that many people seem to hold simultaneously. First, work is vital and the core of human experience. Second, no one will want to work if they don't have to. Well, where do you stand on that? Do you think that work is vital and people are going to work, or do you think that work is not vital and that this hole can sort of be filled by the government paying for it? So I assume that you believe work is vital. I mean, you talk a lot about it in the book, and your opposing that to the idea that people won't work if they don't have to, but you're acknowledging a lot of people aren't going to work, right? I mean, your basic government proposals involve a lot of paying people, whether they're working or not, obviously.
With the goal that we create more work, because I'm very much in the work is vital camp, and that's not just my thinking about it, that's just in the data, where if you look at what happens to idle men in particular, we spend a lot of time on the computer playing video games and doing other things. We volunteer less than employed men, even though we have more time. Our drinking and substance abuse tends to go up, and over time there are some antisocial patterns that develop in idle men to a higher degree than women. And so that's just data. And so if you look at that and you say, okay, this actually is pretty consistent with my intuition that work is incredibly important and vital. It provides structure, purpose, fulfillment, meaning, social structures to people every day. And so the question is, how do we create more things like that? Now, to me, the best path to create that is to put economic resources into people's hands in the form of a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month, which would then allow more people to do the sort of work that either they want to do or that their community has a need for. And the goal is to create jobs, and putting $1,000 a month into people's hands would create at least 2 million new jobs, just because the buying power would just go right back into local businesses and communities. Now, all that being said, I do think our definition, our notion of work should evolve. And one example I use is my wife is at home. We're talking about our families. My wife is at home with our 2 young boys, one of whom is autistic. And right now, she works very hard. I mean, she works harder than I do. I mean, I'm running for president, and she's working harder. But the market values her work at zero. Society, in some ways, minimizes the value of that work. And so, to me, we should broaden the definitions of work to include being a parent or caregiver, but also arts, creativity, entrepreneurship, journalism, things that we know people, coaching, volunteering, civic engagement, things that we know people want to do more of, but that right now society will systematically either undervalue or not have any monetary value.
So I want to ask you about.
That's a fucking really interesting thing you said, dude. Because, think about how many people wake up and their mental health is an issue because they have to go to the same shitty job every day and get mistreated by their boss and just have to deal with it because they need to eat. So if you take away the, you don't have to work this shit job to live, then you're still going to do something, but it's going to be, something super fulfilling instead of, mind, soul crushing,
Well, the way I interpreted it was it just gives you a little bit more free time to do things, right? You're still going to do that crappy job. You're still going to do it, but for example, he mentioned coaching. A lot of people that coach on a volunteer basis on top of their job. So giving you supplemental income means you don't have to work as much and you can allot more time into this area. Or for volunteer, I know people in our lives that do work full-time job and still find time to volunteer because the volunteering brings a little bit more fulfillment. Mm-hmm. So I think people would still work, but giving them this supplemental income lets them work a little bit less, and they'll probably dedicate more time into these other aspects of their life that will bring fulfillment and maybe alleviate a little bit of stress and put a little bit more happiness in their life, give them a little bit more purpose, I guess.
Okay, I can feel that, dude. Let's see how the Shapiros responds.
The location of meaning. So I've heard, as I say, I think there's a point where the populist left sort of meets the populist right. And the suggestion is that if we structure the economy in certain ways, that this will provide more jobs, and that the jobs are what are going to provide meaning. But you also suggest that, the freedom dividend, while it may create more jobs as sort of an ancillary benefit, there are a lot of people who are not going to be able to work, who are going to be on the freedom dividend, who are going to be receiving UBI. In fact, UBI studies don't show increased employment in virtually any study. At best, they show even employment or declines in employment in the areas in which they are tried. So, and then you sort of suggest that people will be able to find meaning in all the other things you're talking about, volunteering and community and art. But we're not seeing that with disability. So people are dependent on disability. They're not engaging more in art making or learning to play violin or volunteering more. They're engaging more with video games, as you talk about, or drug use, or
to me, how's he defining disability, right?
We're seeing
if you're disabled and not able to function in a way where you can do some of these other things, which do require a lot of physical demand, you're not going to be able to do that.
I think
Like,
he's
if-
also saying disability by he's also including people who are just unemployed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you
It's
include
like
that, then yes.
unemployable, dude. Like there
Yeah.
are some people right now who are unemployable. It's like you're too stupid to put in charge of anything. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be involved in making Amazon boxes, dude. So
Yeah, no, I
those
agree.
people, it's like they like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, no, there was when I used to work at a warehouse. I worked with this one guy, very dramatic, right? And he always seemed like a pretty shady dude. Seemed really, really shady, right? And working when you get hired here, there was a 90-day, what do you call it, probationary period before you fully get hired and get benefits. On day 91, bro, straight up after he got offered probation, somehow majorly injured himself. And it was just crazy too, because you can tell he was acting, because it was probably one of the worst acting jobs I've seen in my life. And so he's like, oh, and he's like, I pulled my back. He fucking went to the ground, grabbed his neck, and just started rolling. I was like, what? You could have just said you hurt yourself. You didn't have to do this big old elaborate show. And so he
Yeah.
We
got
all
benefits
believe you
and-
hurt yourself, man.
Yeah, and do nothing. And you can just tell it was fake, but you can't say it was as the company. Me as an employee, I'm like, man, you suck. You lazy, and now you're just trying to scam the company to give you benefits so you don't have to work. And so there are people like that out there. They're just like, they did what they do. They did what they do for a living. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's some people who just they see what they can get and they're like, okay, that's my mission now.
Yeah, live the easy life. And some people don't want to better themselves. They just want to live within a means that keeps them going and surviving. They don't want to strive for more.
Family breakdown.
Yes.
With all of that. So what makes you think the freedom dividend is going to have a different effect on human behavior than, for example, current government welfare systems have?
Yes. So 3 things. The first is that money does not somehow convey meaning. And, you know, the best it can do is maybe provide circumstances that help people find a path towards some work that they find fulfilling. The second thing is that I have a friend whose sister is on disability, and she's afraid to volunteer in her community because she's afraid she'd be noticed as able-bodied and thus lose her benefits. And so this freedom dividend would be unconditional and free and clear, and so that person would be volunteering and would not have any fear that, you know, her benefits are going to be taken away. The third thing is that there's something very, very important
Kinda
about
anecdotal.
conceiving of yourself as either able or disabled. And so if you're literally getting a check for being disabled, your 2 ideas of yourself are, 1, I'm genuinely disabled, which, and most people do have some kind of genuine ailment, you know, physical or mental, or 2, I'm defrauding our society and I'm actually totally fine. And I'm going to suggest that most people will fall into bucket number 1, that it's like a rare person who's just like, I'm 100% fine, and this disability check I'm getting is just me being completely fabricating some condition. And so if you invert that mentality and you say, hey, you are not disabled, you are fine, you are a citizen of the richest, most advanced country in the history of the world, and you're getting this cash and it's going to be yours no matter what because it's yours and you deserve it, then that would be more constructive in terms of pushing more people into things that they'd feel good about, that society would feel good about, than if we say, hey, there's something wrong with you and we're going to give you this cash in order to survive.
So with all of that said, is your proposal for essentially universal basic income, the freedom dividend, do you see that as substituting for the vast agglomeration of welfare state policies we currently have, which was sort of Milton Friedman's proposal, or do you see it as another dividend on top of whatever is being paid? We're already paying tens of thousands of dollars per household in poverty in the United States in welfare.
Yes. So my plan, the freedom dividend, would be opt-in. But if you opt in, then you will forego benefits from the existing programs. And so if you are currently receiving more than $1,000 in benefits, then you would look at this and say, hey, like I'm not going to do anything and my life is going to be as it is. If you decide to opt in for the freedom dividend, it might be very appealing because it's unconditional, there's no administration, no case manager, it's $1,000 cash, you can do whatever you want, then you forego your current enrollment. And so what you'd see is we would shrink.
That's actually a really good point, dude. That if you're getting like a lot of social help from the government and it's over $1,000, then just say, nah, I don't want that. I'm gonna keep my whatever I'm getting, which is maybe $2,000 or $3,000, maybe $6,000, and I'm chill. And then the regular people who don't have like a bunch of kids or don't have like a bunch of debt, then me or everyone else would just be like, yeah, I'll take that extra $1,000. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's no way I would just take $1,000 and not work right now. That's
Oh, dude. Yeah.
way more than that. So it's like, fuck your universal basic income. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, no, I think it's supplemental on top of it. You'll still get that and you work, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in their situation, he's just saying for those that do get benefits, if it's more than what this is, yeah, it's like, what do you got? Like opportunity costs. Am I going to give this up for less?
Yeah.
No, it's not worth it. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to take this.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
So,
if I got
it's
an
like
extra
either
$1,000
or.
a month, you know for sure I would like be investing in stocks and shit.
Oh, yeah, man. And I think that's what he's saying. It allows you to do something that you may not have previously been able to do. Like for you, example, invest in stocks. Other people, like he said, volunteering and having no fear on top of it. Like, hey, I can finally explore something I personally wanted to do, but have never been able to do before.
Yeah,
I think that's one of his arguments.
All right, let's see.
The enrollment in the 126 or so different welfare programs that we have, and then over time those enrollments would go down, which is very much the goal, because the current programs, no one loves them, and they do have many unfortunate incentives attached to them, where if you do better, then you get less, and so many people are underreporting how they're doing, or constructing a world where they are maximizing their benefits.
So when we talk about the cost of this thing, and you talk about it in the book, The War on Normal People, you talk about it'll cost maybe $1.3 trillion a year. That would be in addition to current budgeting, presumably.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, dude.
Honestly, that's obviously a lot of spending off the top. But beyond that,
I don't think it's in addition. He was just talking about how it was one or the other.
Yeah,
so the people who do take it are taking less money out of the other pot.
But
So
wouldn't you be talking about the rest of the citizens who aren't on any kind of social help?
Yeah, you're just saying it's like an additional. Yeah. Like you're just saying the extra spending that would occur. Because the people that are taking welfare are still going to get that welfare.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a whole lot of other people. I don't know what the working number is. Don't quote me on this. Probably like another 30, 40 million people that work. They'll probably cap it at a certain like salary range, or if not, then who knows?
No, he says everybody. He says everybody.
So there you go. So let's say 30 million more people get $1,000. We're going to give another $300 million to people. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy though, because like I remember when $1,000 to me, and as an adult, like 18 to 23, was like so much money.
Yeah.
It was like if I owed someone $1,000, fuck. I remember crashing Fern's truck, and I owed him $1,500, and I was like, I gotta cancel everything. Like, I gotta cancel the internet. I gotta cancel. Like, I'm gonna have to spend 3 years paying this fucking guy off. But luckily, I borrowed money from people and then paid them back over like a year and a half. But still,
yeah,
like that was too much money for me, dude. And now it's not that. It's
not that.
Yeah, so like for all these poor people, they're gonna be like, this $1,000 like saving my life. And then for all of the rest of those people that are making more, it's gonna be like, man, what's an extra $1,000? Like, what's that really doing?
$1,000 is still a lot to me. I love it. You give me $1,000 extra a month, man.
Well, that's because you grew up poor, though, dude. That's
yeah, I grew up super poor. So like, I remember when $1,000 was so much money, dude. It wasn't even that long ago, you know.
Yeah, even still now, I think the way you grow up and the environment you've been molded in teaches you to appreciate money in a different type of way, especially when you like go out and work for it on a weekly basis, right? The value of that money, or at least I think a lot of people, from my perspective, we value it and in a different way. It's like, oh, it's so precious. That's why it hurts. They did like a study where the loss of money hurts more than me giving you money.
It's so true. It's so true.
Right?
It hurts, dude.
It's like you feel the pain. Like, I gave you $50, but if you lost $50, that hurts a lot more. But
I can't pinpoint because I just imagined myself at Vegas losing $300, and I felt the pain, but I can't pinpoint where it is. But I know it's real, dude. It's real pain.
I can
imagine
you losing. I've probably seen you lose $50 at a casino, and yeah, you don't appreciate it.
$50, I'm like, no.
You hate the casino for just shaking your hand at them.
Yeah, that sucks too. But the thrill though. The thrill of the winning it is
Yeah.
is what
That's
makes it
why
all
it's the
worthwhile.
rush, man. It's the rush. Like when you win, the rush is fun.
Yeah,
And
dude, for
and the
sure.
thing is, every time we go, we are lit ass drunk.
There's some people who just go to Vegas once a month and spend that $1,000 and then keep living the rest of their lives as normal, you know.
Yeah, man, if you can put it within your means, I think that's where the line is, right? If that loss isn't gonna affect your life to a point where you can't survive or have the basic necessities to survive, which I think a lot of people do that. That's why gambling is such a bad thing for a lot of people. There's such a stigma on it because of that.
That's pretty much what my uncles would do. Dude. My uncle, my family. Remember how my family went to Cancun, like 62 of us at a time?
Yeah, I had a great time. I loved it.
That's what my family does pretty much. Like we save money, live poor, and then like every once in a while, like we get wind of a good deal, and we all flock there like locusts.
Good.
And then ball out or what?
Heck yeah.
I mean, we're rich. We're poor people balling out. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, I think what it is. You're just trying to have an experience. You want to enjoy life, and life is about experiences to me.
But
doing
yeah,
certain things, right? Because like you said, you can't take the money with you.
when you're going like 62 people deep, you get some great deals on cruise ships. You know what I mean? You get some great deals.
Like I said, when I went with y'all to your family, man, your family is dope people. Only party with a few of them. I didn't meet like you said. We went with like 50 people. I probably only met 10 of them. Had a great time.
True.
Were you guys all
Too
on
many.
one flight?
Oh heck no!
What?
Heck no!
You guys all on one flight?
No. Everyone got there at their own time, at their own pace.
Dude, I'm glad because we ended up showing super late and we got upgraded to suites. So I'm happy.
Did we?
Yeah, because remember our flight got delayed 3 times. And so every time we got delayed, we just kept getting drunker and drunker and drunker. And at the very end, we walked up to our final gate, and I was like, "Oh man!" Me and Huda were talking to the lady at the gate, and I was just like, "Dude, we've been delayed so much today." And she was like, "Dude, really nice people out there, man." And I think I was out in Texas too. That's when we were out in Texas, in Dallas. That was on one of our transit flights, and she was telling us, "Oh, let me see what I can do." She's like, "Do you carry sit next to each other?" Like, nope. And she upgraded our flights to better seats than we originally would have had. And then once we got there, they said, "Oh, we already gave your rooms away. Let me see what we can do." And these are only available rooms. So the rooms we got were suites.
Nice.
Dude,
Better
wasn't
flights,
I with
better
you?
rooms. Yeah.
Dude, I don't remember that at all, dude.
You, like,
How
don't get me
drunk
wrong.
was I, dude?
No,
How
we
drunk
like
was
we
I?
drank. We dropped. I dropped alone $300 just in the airports. And so, and I'm not saying you can't drink, but you can't drink as much as we do.
Oh, definitely not, dude.
And I know I was lit shit drunk. And so,
You're not
yeah,
able to enjoy the
obviously.
plane if you're that tore up.
Yeah, obviously I was super drunk because I don't remember
Oh,
any
dude,
of this, dude.
On the flight from Dallas to Cancun, I passed out. I was passed out the whole time.
Yeah.
I
Easy,
woke up.
easy.
Yeah. I woke up. I think I was like sleeping on some chick's shoulder. She didn't care. I wish I knew some drunk guy passed out. Like whatever.
All right. Let's see how. You know what? Hey, do you guys mind if I go increase the speed?
It's up to you, man.
Let's do it.
They sound funny.
This be limited in any way? Because every government program, as Ronald Reagan said, basically has a bill of immortal life. And if it were to start at $1,000 a month, inflation adjusted, how quickly does this become somebody saying, you know what, it really ought to be $3,000 a month? Because that's a popular pitch. Everybody gets more free money. Where's the logical limit?
See, there, like it's already at 2,000 right now. Like it started at 1, and now we're talking about 2.
On that, and how do we limit that from just eating the rest of government? Because entitlement programs obviously are running us ragged now. They obviously represent 2/3 of the federal budget. Adding another massive entitlement program on top that doesn't have a limiting principle, how do we limit that so it doesn't become the overarching goal of government and actually put too much of a press on the capitalist system?
Yes. So the first thing is I would disagree with the characterization of a dividend as an entitlement program. And there's one state that's had a dividend for 37 years, and that state is Alaska, which is deep red. It was passed by a Republican governor. And he said, look, who'd you rather get the money? The government who's just going to screw it up, or you, the Alaskan people? And the Alaskan said, us. And he said, I thought you'd say that. And then now everyone in Alaska gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year, no questions asked. It's created thousands of jobs.
That's a great way to pitch it, dude. Who do you think's gonna mess up the? Who do you want the money? The government's gonna mess it up, or you?
I bet you there's some people who voted for the government to have it though. It was like, no, don't give me the money. I'm gonna mess it up.
Yeah, dude. In all reality, the government spends money on a lot of stupid. Like
Yeah.
I think one of the budget things was 320,000 for new furniture. Like really, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the one you already have? Nothing. They just want new furniture because it's in the budget and they need to spend it.
Yeah. Oh, that happens a lot, dude. There's like
Yeah.
we spent this much last year. We have to spend that much this
Yeah.
year.
Everywhere. I remember one of our high school teachers. Remember Mr. Montano, Timmy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He used to work for NASA, and NASA had a budget, and they're like, "Dude, you gotta spend this." And he was like, "I spent $80,000 on toilet seats because I had to spend it just to replace all the toilet seats. Nothing wrong with them. Just they didn't want the budget to be cut, so they spent that much on toilet seats."
Thank goodness for for SpaceX, dude. Get out of that. Get out of that, NASA. NASA with the wasting of the money, dude. That's my money that they freaking spent on toilet
But
seats
you know,
unnecessarily.
Now that it's Elon Musk money, he's like, nobody's buying $1 million toilet.
You're pooping in a diaper.
Jobs, improve children's health and nutrition. It's decreased income inequality. And here's the kicker. It's wildly popular in a deep red state that hates taxes because they see it's like, this is one of the few things the government gets right. Like, I actually get this dividend. It's great. I look forward to it. It's real. I can spend it. My kids get it. Like, life is better as a result. And so, like, it's different from an entitlement in both its structure and the way it's utilized. So that's big picture number one. Number two is
I actually agree with that, with the way
what
he said was
higher in terms of
the utilization of the dividend. That's what he's referring it to as. Because it flows into the people, into the economy. So that's what they did with the stimulus, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. They are stimulating the economy by giving it to the people who are going to put it back into the economy. And that's how you keep the economy functioning. But then at what point, again, inflation is probably going to be a problem. They're going to discuss at some point.
Proportion of the federal budget and the enrollments, where there are right now more Americans on disability than work in construction, as one example. And these trends are not going to abate, they're actually going to accelerate. So the question is whether we're going to try and restructure those programs to something that we can all embrace and get excited about that will actually help keep American families and communities strong, instead of waiting for more and more people to get debilitated by, for example, an automation wave that's going to displace the significant proportion of the people that hold the most common jobs in the economy, which we're in the midst of right now. And so the question is, do you wait and say, okay, like, I guess we're gonna have more and more people qualifying for these welfare programs that have very negative incentives attached to them, or are we going to own the reality and say, look, we get it, we're going to have this dividend, and then we're going to reverse the incentives of those programs over time. Now, to your question about like whether there's a logical limit, the reason why $1,000 a month is so magical is that it's enough to make a huge difference in the lives of individuals and families. It's going to help children's health and graduation rates and mental health. And, you know.
Before he gets forward, I just want to say that was such a good answer, dude. That was such a good answer right there. Andrew Yang has gotten so much better at talking than he when he first started, dude. This guy's learned a lot.
Oh yeah, it's putting yourself, being a public character, because it's hard to handle that kind of pressure. You develop this persona.
Oh, did you see the thing with him when he was getting yelled at by I don't think it was BLM people. It was like some protest or something. There's a video like he's on his bike in his city where he lives, and he was at like a protest for like, I'm pretty sure it was a protest for like George Floyd or like another thing like that. Mm-hmm. And the people there were like, "Fuck you, Andrew Yang, get the fuck out of here!" And he like booed out of the area. Basically, he had to turn around and ride out because he represents, like, I don't know, the people in charge and the people who have fucked up the systems that are in place right now. That's what I thought. Like,
people are freaking stupid, bro.
Fault by association. It's like, come on. I always say, right? People say, "Oh, all cops are bad." No. There's a handful of bad cops, just like there's a handful of bad people. Does that mean all people suck? No. Stop associating groups by the few and applying it to the all.
And Andrew Yang seems like a pleasant person. Like, if you were around him, I'd be like, he's a nice guy, you know? So for anyone to be like, "Fuck you, Andrew Yang," it's like, you're just unreasonable right now.
Yeah. Angry.
Whatever you got going on is not gonna, I shouldn't stand here to argue with you, you know?
Yeah, dude, don't argue with stupid, because they will not listen to you. They just hear nothing, and they just want to say what they want to say.
Yeah. That's so true. I've noticed that, and I ran into that so many times. I've spent hours talking to
Yes.
this
Oh, you'll
brick
never
wall.
it's
a brick wall,
because they're not listening
100%.
to you. Yeah, they don't want to hear you. They just want to say what they want to say. Remember, I always tell you, there's an argument and then there's a debate, a progressive debate. Most people, when they argue, they don't listen. They just want to say and be angry and make their points. A debate is having an open mind and actually willing to be progressive. You may not 100% agree, but at least they might have changed your frame of mind, your thought process on how you look at something. Most people argue. A lot of people don't debate.
I think the argument versus debate or discussion would have probably involve like emotion. Probably.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And
that's why you gotta, the person who talks the quietest always wins the argument, because
because like
I said, once you get out of control, it's all your logic goes out the door.
When you whisper, then they have to get super close to hear you. That's why, dude. And you punch them in the face. Don't argue with me.
Kids will have a real chance to learn. Will reduce domestic violence, will reduce hospital visits, but it's not enough to be a labor replacement, because $12,000 is below the U.S. poverty line of $12,700, and so people are still going to have to work to prosper and have a life that anyone's going to be excited about. My goal would be to put in this $1,000 dividend and then keep it at that level, but it's going to be up to, and this is a big leap, but we have to trust that future legislatures will be responsible with the
trust
fact
the government.
Good luck to that.
Well,
you're trying to tell us to trust the government? Get out of here! Get out of here!
That's funny, because legit, that was Ben Shapiro's response.
Right.
Like, trust the government? What's that?
wait, we're gonna have to trust the government? Come on, get that. You want to trust the government, but the government continually screws you on a yearly basis.
I mean, look at all the amendments we got, dude. That just gives you an idea that it's not perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
I think also everyone spends all the time thinking about how the government fucks you over, but nobody spends the time thinking about like how it's helping you out too.
That's true, dude.
Driving down like a newly paved road and just being like, man, the fucking government, and it's like, dude.
I just got my tax returns, and it was so hassle-free to get them. That was the government right there, dude.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. But that's a thing, right? Why do we oftentimes just fixate on the negative and what we don't have? We oftentimes don't look at what we do have.
If you, from a survival standpoint, when you fixate on, when you recognize and give time for the negatives usually include the tiger, or starvation, or sickness, and those things keep you alive.
To keep those,
and the happiness you can just ignore and just take it as it comes.
I think we do have to evolve though, dude. And that's the thing, is like we've always like had that like predatory, like we have to hunt to eat, to work to eat, to do all the shit to eat, and we need to like change just the whole structure of that, because once it comes like we don't have to work to eat or hunt to eat or do anything to eat, and it's like, what do I do? And something's got to change.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree for sure.
Like Alaska, they've had it for 37 years, and they've pegged it to a particular resource. And so what I'm suggesting is, what is the resource that we should peg this to? And the resource we should peg this to is technology, where we have artificial intelligence and self-driving cars and trucks coming. And Amazon, this $1 trillion tech company that's
and data, personal data,
causing 30% of malls and stores to close, they paid zero in federal taxes last year. And so what I'm going around saying is like, look, that's not their fault. It's their job to pay as little tax as possible. But that means we've done a bad job designing a system if Amazon's paying less in federal taxes than you are, or he is. Or
I mean, I wonder if that's true though, because the fact is that we focused a lot on production, but we focused very little in this conversation on consumption. And the fact is that when we talk about sort of this halcyon past where everybody was employed and people in the manufacturing industry were employed, like you describe at one point the 1970s, and I want to read it because I think it's sort of telling and interesting. You say some economic problems existed, growth was uneven, and inflation periodically high, which might be a mild understatement. I mean, the 70s were not great economically, but income inequality was low. Jobs provided benefits, and mainstream businesses were the drivers of the economy. There were only 3 television networks, and in my house, we watched them on a TV with an antenna that we fiddled with to make the picture clearer. Now, I'm not nostalgic for a time where I had 3 channels on a TV where I had to fiddle with the antenna. There are obviously benefits and drawbacks to the economy, but the fact is that people are living significantly better on the average in the United States than they were in the 1970s, if only from the ability to consume more. I mean, the fact is that everybody has a microwave, everybody has a cell phone, everybody has a car. We're talking poverty line folks have these things. So when we talk about what Amazon is not paying, the fact is that Amazon not only is one of the bigger employers in the country, but Amazon is making legitimately millions of lives better on the consumption side. So are we focusing too much on the production side as opposed to the consumption side, especially considering that the number of people who are affected by consumption is 100%, and the number of people who are affected by lacks of production jobs are significantly lower than that?
Well, you know, it's one of the things that I say in the book, which is that if you have like this focus on consumption, like cheap stuff and access to apps on your smartphone are great, but they don't substitute for having a functioning Main Street or a job to go to. And so it's true that there are winners and losers in this economy. Unfortunately, right now, the losers are outnumber the winners significantly by at least some measurements. And we talk about the 70s to now. Income growth has stagnated for many Americans from the 70s to now in real terms. And the last 3 years, we've seen this declining life expectancy that's hand in hand with a surge in suicides and drug overdoses, which is a sign that at least some Americans are experiencing the lack of productive opportunity much more sharply than having access to cheap consumer goods can somehow make up for.
Well, I think that's obviously true for a subset of the population. It is also true that for 100% of the population, the consumer
we
goods...
get cheap stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just cheap.
Okay, so it's almost over. Before we finish, let's just go over what he just said, dude. What do you think about what he just said right there? That like, Shapiro is saying that like, the fact that, well, I've never heard anyone actually make this argument before. I think it's kind of weak, but I guess that's poisoning the well. But anyway, so he's saying that the fact that what Amazon's doing is making things cheaper for everyone, and that affects 100% of the world or the population, which I don't think it does, because even the more rich people don't buy from Amazon, right? The super rich people, they go to like they don't buy their yachts on Amazon, is what I'm trying to say. They don't buy their houses on Amazon. But
I don't know. I feel like Amazon's probably gonna sell cars eventually. Probably will sell houses eventually.
maybe
Amazon is actually building they're starting to get into the healthcare industry and start building hospitals, bro.
I think the problem with Amazon, especially when we're talking about like these being government programs and like having to focus on consumerism, is that Amazon is not like the mom and pop shop, or like it's not like money going into your like community. That's money going into Jeff Bezos' pocket, and Jeff Bezos probably has homes in 10 countries. So Jeff Bezos spending some of your money in Europe or Asia or whatever, you know. So we shouldn't be worried about like making him more money. They shouldn't be like let them do what they're doing because it's successful, and then like that's just the way it's going to be. The government should like try to keep some money locally.
No, I agree, dude. We should keep all our money. No, not all the money. Obviously, I mean, tourism has to happen, but still, like, yeah, we should try. And in fact, we should try and promote tourism within the United States. Hell yeah, dude. Let's do it.
Hey, if I had extra $1,000 a month, dude, I'd go visit some places. You know, I'd love.
Right, like I'd go to Colorado. Say, what's up, dude? What's up?
Right. I want to go to New York, Boston,
New York.
Actually, one place I want to visit is Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Why Philadelphia, dude? Just to eat food?
Food, and you know,
if I were to go one place for food, it would have to be like Louisiana, dude, like, or someplace in the South.
New Orleans.
You know what I mean? Like someplace where it's just like obviously crazy food that's way different than what I'm used to. That's
You're gonna get way sick. I can't take this food.
You're right. I will get way sick, but I'll be like happy about it, and I'll do it again the next day. You know me. I'm lactose intolerant, and I eat ice cream, and I get an extra helping of cheese when I can.
Everybody gets act up in the cheese, bro. I love cheese.
Fantastic and great stuff. And if the idea of UBI is that raising living standards on a generalized level results in better outcomes in a variety of areas, then one of the ways to do that is to continue to provide that cheap stuff. And so there is a balance here, I would assume.
I like cheap stuff.
Facts don't care about your feelings, and it's a fact.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't so bad.
Perfect spot to end it, just to like get a last dig at him. I like cheap stuff, and then it's like, and that's what Andrew Yang said.
Yeah, I don't think he really went too hard on them, because these are actual questions that should be asked.
Yeah, you know, that was a good positive debate, dude. I don't think it was too like mean-spirited by either person. I don't think anyone was trying to be devious or like weird with their thing. They just agreed on a lot of shit, you know.
Yeah, because there's debates where other people just jab at the other person, like underlying "you suck." So it was good.
All right. Well, you guys have anything else to say? I think we're about to wrap it up.
No, man. I again, like from the very beginning, I do agree with the whole premise of bringing the bottom line up, helping people continue to progress themselves. So I am still for the UBI. Obviously there's going to be logistics that need to be worked out in regards to being able to implement this type of program. But hey, I'm all for it.
All right, dude. I'm pretty for it too. I think it's a good idea.
I'm telling you, dude, I think this whole STEMI stuff is just like dress rehearsal or like small, like the alpha testing for UBI. They're like, we gave people $600, it didn't really work out. We gave them $1,200, we gave them $1,400, and like,
and they're testing to see where it
like
went.
Tracking where the money went. Yeah.
Or I'll tell you what, they literally tracked it. A lot of the money went to the stock market.
Yeah, if this is the alpha, dude, sign me up for the beta. That's all I have to say.
I'm all good. Yeah, that was cool. I like that video. It was a good thing to listen to.
All right, so today we talked about the funny babies. We talked about some crazy hijinks on the road piracy, and we had a debate about UBI. Pretty good day, dude. Pretty good Friday. All right, everybody. So thanks for tuning in. We'll go ahead and see you guys again next week. We're going to sign off for now. This is Hungry Huskar.
Hey, Scuba. I want to say I appreciate Timmy for joining us again, and everyone that did watch and will watch. Subscribe to my boy Hungry, and we'll be back next week.
Hey, see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out.